as much as I want to, I will never forget the day that I told my dad that I was pregnant. I say that because that was the day that I found out my ex cheated on me.
Queen, you are valued. You are loved. You are appreciated. You are needed. You feel me? You are joy. When you walk in the room, you demand that respect. Okay, you set the tone, queen. You are beautiful. You're freaking gorgeous, girl. What the hell? You see yourself, you know it. You feel me? You are you. You are that one.
What's up, you guys? My name is Janae Christina, and I'm back with another video. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about my story, how I told my parents that I was pregnant. I wanted to share my story for someone who could be in the same situation as me, someone who is curious about somebody who is in a situation. How do they tell their family? I want people to be able to come to this video and be able to be like, oh, like I can relate to her. I'm just here to say that if life happens and it hits you, it's okay at the end of the day. Don't be afraid to tell your parents. Don't be afraid to accept it, and just, you know, just live your life. Like, this is your life. This is my life. This is my story, and I want to share it with y'all. I am sharing a big part of me, and I ask that everybody respect it and just enjoy what I have to say. Yeah, I basically was crying the whole way home, sobbing, you know, snot, tears, and lashes was coming off my face. I was thinking, like, how am I going to tell my family? How am I going to tell my boyfriend, my friends? But you know, my friends is an easy read. I chose to text everybody instead of call everybody because at that moment I couldn't really talk straight. You know, like, all my words was not going to come out, and I knew that. And I know how I am when I cry. When I cry, ain't no words coming out clear. Instead of like mumbling my words and sobbing and getting everything mixed up, I just decided to send a text out to my friends, and I said, I'm pregnant, and I'm going home. Then I texted my boyfriend at the time. I wish I could have told him a different way, but like I said, I just couldn't find it in me to call anybody and just have a simple conversation. So I chose to text him, and I told him, and I said that I was pregnant. A part of me was also kind of upset with him because when I was having all of my symptoms, it was kind of like he wasn't taking them as serious as I wish he would have. I had to understand that he is also a young man, and he was nervous at the time, as well as I was, you know, scared and in denial. So I kind of just ignored it. You know, I didn't let it faze me. Since I was a little upset with him, like, well, bump it, I'm gonna just text him and tell him, like, yeah, I went to go get tested like you didn't want me to, and it turns out that my pregnancy test came out positive. You know, in the moment when I found out I was pregnant, I was taking it harshly, but after I had digested reality, I was just telling myself, like, you know what, Janae, like, you're gonna get an abortion, you're gonna take care of this problem, and we're gonna act like it never happened. And that was where I messed up, y'all. I was really beating myself up later down the road, because I was looking at an abortion as an easy fix to a life that was not, you know, something that I was in control over. Only God is. So the fact that I was kind of just thinking, like, yeah, I'm gonna just put an end to this and I'm gonna just move forward. And I thought to myself that I wasn't even going to tell my parents. You know, I was just like, bump it. Things do happen. You know, people do go through what I go through, and they take the abortion route. I'm not shaming anybody who takes the abortion route. People do what's best for them. As y'all can see, that wasn't the route that I took because that was not what was best for me. I had my friends by my side. You know, my friends are pretty much my people that I leaned on. I started to really encounter a lot more sadness than I thought I would. I felt like I was missing something. And when I say I was missing something, I felt like I did not have the right support with me along the way. Yes, I had my friends. Yes, I had my boyfriend. Yes, I had clinics and people to talk to. It took a lot in me to realize that I need to tell my parents. You know, like, this is going on. This is a real situation. Yes, they might be disappointed in me at the end of the day, but in reality, your parents are your parents for a reason. They are there to parent, and they are there to support you and go through what you go through. I was just thinking to myself, like, I need to tell my mom. I wasn't ready to tell my dad, but I needed to tell somebody who was more able to help me, more than my friend and my boyfriend would be able to. And that was my mother. When I started having these feelings, like, deep down, I started to think, like, would they be a boy? Would they be a girl? How would their face look? And it was just crazy to me how I would never be able to know anything about them if I was to get an abortion. So I started to just really beat myself up over it. I never really expressed that to my friends or to my boyfriend at the time. I was just so fixed on getting the abortion, and I just felt like there was nothing else to discuss with them. But I did start to mention to them how I kind of wanted to go to an ultrasound and just to be able to see the baby. And that's what got me. There was still a part of me deep down inside that didn't want to get an abortion. My friends were saying they would always support me with whatever I would do, but they would also be like, girl, like, what would you do with a kid? If that's what you choose to do, then we support you. And we gonna do it. Like, if you want to have this baby, then we gonna have this baby. I guess now we're gonna get into the part where I told my mom, who is pretty much the only person that made it seem like it was okay for me to say I want my baby, you know. So going into when I told my mom that I was pregnant, around this time the situation was really weighing down on me. I didn't know what to do because I had, you know, my spiritual life on one side, and then I had my wants on another side. You know, like, I knew what I needed to do, and I knew God wouldn't be happy with what I wanted to do, and I just didn't know how to go about things. So I was doing my hair one night, and I decided to call my mother. Me and my mom were basically like playing phone tag, you know, like, I would call her back, she would call me back. Around the time that I kept calling her, she was just like, girl, you must miss your mama, or you must miss being at home, because you sure do keep on calling, like, you're not enjoying college. And deep down, I was just thinking, like, mama, if only you knew what was going on in my life at the moment. So each time that we would get on the phone, I would just think to myself, like, all right, like, this is it, this is the time. I'm gonna just break it down to her that I'm pregnant. But I was having such a hard time because she was just in such a good mood and just happy and carefree, and I just felt like, you know, I'm about to hurt my mother by telling her what I'm about to tell her. And it was just really bold, and I just felt really bad, and I was battling, like, should I tell her? Like, should I not tell her? I knew I had to tell her because not only would she support me, but I know it would hurt her for me to go through this process alone. So the final call before I told her, I had answered the phone because she had called me back, and I think she was on her way home or something. She was driving, and I told her that I had something to tell her. And so, you know, she was really pushing me to open up about whatever it is that I had to say. I was just like, Mom, like, can you just wait till you get home? Like, you're driving. Like, I don't want to talk about it while you're driving, blah, blah, blah. But she insisted. She was like, Christina, just stop beating around the bush and just, like, tell me what's wrong. But that's when I had came out to her, and I told her, like, well, lately I've been experiencing weird body changes, and I had decided to go to the clinic the other day, and I went to get pregnancy tested, and my results were positive. When I told her, she was pretty much silent. We just sat on the phone. I could feel the heartbreak through the phone for sure. I felt like I just let my mom down with what I told her, especially if she didn't have anything to say in response. You know, I was just waiting, like, can you say something? Like, are you mad at me? You know, how do you feel? I don't know what I expected from her. I don't know if I expected for her to go off on me, for her to, I know she wasn't gonna be happy because, you know, I'm too young to be pregnant, so she wouldn't just be like jumping up full of joy, like, oh yes, my daughter's pregnant, like, I'm a grandma, like, no. She definitely expressed that she was hurt, and, you know, she was just saying, like, Janae, this is a big thing. This is not something that you play with. This is a huge responsibility that you just put on your own hand. Then she started to question, like, how did I want to go about the pregnancy? Did I want to keep the baby? Did I want to get an abortion? And that's when I had told her that I was wanting to get an abortion. And so it was just like a wave of disappointment just came over me from her to me. Like, I just knew that made her even more disappointed to hear that I wanted to get an abortion, because I was not raised like that. I was raised to, number one, take responsibility for my actions, and number two, you put yourself in a situation where you need to get yourself out of a situation. So even though my mom was disappointed in me, she still made it clear that the decision was mine to make, but she assured me, like, this baby, you know, even though it happened at an early age, this baby is a gift. This life doesn't really belong to me, it belongs to God. And I completely understood that because, like I said, I was brought up a certain way, and everything that she was telling me, I was already aware of it, you know, like I already knew and felt the same way deep down. When I became pregnant and I was thinking about abortion, God was seriously dealing with me like a one-on-one deal. That's another reason why I just wanted to talk to my mother, because I feel like only she could relate and only she could help me through this time, because out of all of my friends, I'm the most religious one. I'm very mature about a lot of my stuff. And, you know, I have mature friends, but I don't have as many religious friends as I wish I did have. When I was looking for somebody for that religious portion to pour out into me and to be able to converse with me with my situation, my mom was my number one person. I'm very religious, if you guys can't tell. You know, if this is a little too religious for you, then I don't know what to tell y'all, because God is a part of my life. He will be a part of this baby's life too. So I will never, you know, not include God in my situations, because he helps me make the best out of them, period. Fast forwarding to the part where I told my dad, when I told my mom that I was pregnant, I made sure that she understood that I did not want to tell my dad at all. I was not ready to tell him, whether, like, no matter the outcome, I didn't want to tell him that I was pregnant either way. I was more of a daddy's girl, or I am more of a daddy's girl than I am a mommy's girl. You know, it's one thing for me to disappoint my mother, but it's a whole nother thing for me to disappoint my father. I feel like you will disappoint your mom before you would want to disappoint your dad. I mean, you don't want to disappoint either one of them in general, but y'all get what I'm saying. The day that I told my dad is a day that I could never forget. As much as I want to, I will never forget the day that I told my dad that I was pregnant. And I say that not because it was the day that I told him that I was pregnant. I say that because that was the day that I found out my ex had cheated on me. I told my dad that I was pregnant on September 17th, 2019. And I had woken up and, you know, I had realized that I was being cheated on, like, really bad. Like, really, really, really bad. And so I woke up, I started off doing some homework, and then something was brought to my attention, and I found out that I was being cheated on. My boyfriend at the time, or my ex, whichever one you want to call him, he was currently with me in my apartment, and that was because I had previously went to go get him from his school 2 hours away. He was kind of spending time with me, spending time with his friends, and at the time he was in my apartment. So when I found out that he was cheating on me, I woke up and I went ballistic. I was texting my mother. I texted my dad. I was like, Dad, you know, I was just texting him, like mad texting him, like telling him to come up here, come do this to him, come do that to him, come swing on him, something, like just do all this crazy stuff, because I was pissed and hurt. When I texted both my parents about what had happened, I alarmed them, obviously, and what I was telling them, of course they would be alarmed because of the situation, and they know me, they know, it's not good to say, but they know I tend to put my hands on people depending on the circumstances, which is not good, y'all. Keep your hands to yourself. Coronavirus, wash your hands, and don't touch people. But yeah, violence is not the answer. I'm not telling y'all to put your hands on people. That's not what we're here to talk about. So don't, you know, if you beat somebody up, I'm not gonna do that at all. I was just texting my mom and I was just telling her, like, how I'm about to really hurt this little boy. I don't care what she's talking about. I don't care what nobody's talking about. I'm about to cause some damage. I'm about to leave this little boy leaking, all of this stuff. I was talking some junk. So I was telling her all of this and, you know, leaving her kind of hanging. When you are pregnant, you shouldn't be active. You shouldn't be doing too much physical things, especially fighting somebody. You should not be fighting nobody when you are pregnant, because that could lead to a miscarriage, and that could lead to, you hurting yourself or your baby, you never know. So she was worried because I stopped responding to her through my text messages. I stopped talking to her, and I didn't text my dad back after I had told him what I had told him. And from their point of view, they're probably thinking like she could be hurt right now. She could have put her hands on him. So I guess my mother was like really, really, really concerned about what could be going down while they are 2 hours away. And it's not they can just pull up in 5 minutes and make sure I'm okay. So my mother, she told me that she told my dad what had happened as far as me being pregnant, which is why she was so concerned, because he was probably thinking like what's going on? Like, do you know something that I don't know? I don't know how she told him. She didn't tell me how she told him. She just told me that before they both called me and I answered the phone, she was on the phone with him telling him how she's concerned that I could be in danger. But before I could drop the ball on my dad, my mom dropped it on him for me, basically. And I didn't know this. After a while, it was my 2 closest friends in the bedroom with me, just trying to deal with what had just went down. And so I had got a call from my mother, and I answered the phone, and on the other line was my dad. So basically, we were on a 3-way call. My mom basically was saying like, Janae, your dad's on the phone. And so my dad was like, Janae, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's going on? And I was like, X, Y, and Z just happened, and I'm so over it. I'm so over him, and blah, 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 blah. And at this point, when I was just rambling on, like just telling him the story of what had just went down, I had just, thought like, bump it. Like, I already told him all this stuff. Everything is going sideways. I might as well lay this out on the table too. I was so heated in the moment and just getting mad all over again from telling him like what had just happened, not even 30 minutes from when everything had happened. And I was like, Dad, I'm pregnant. Just like that, y'all. I just said it. I just didn't care at this point. I just laid it out there and said, I'm pregnant. And then he finally did the silence and just said like, well, okay. Like, I kid y'all not, he said, well, okay. I guess because it wasn't really the time and place to really lecture me and shake his finger at me and just be like, Janae, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you out here getting pregnant? Because I had just told him like something so terrible that hurt me to my core, pretty much. And it just was time for him to be a protective father and a supportive father, more so than a father who was trying to teach me a lesson. So the next couple of things I can remember was him asking me like my well-being. Was I okay? Was I hurt? Who was I with? Where was I? And he just advised me to just stay in my apartment and to just not go looking for him, don't put my hands on him, just, take it easy. Pretty much assuring me that everything will be okay. Yeah, he pretty much took it easy on me. And plus, like I said, my mother broke the news to him before I could. So when I was telling him this, it was still like new news, but it wasn't new to the point where he hadn't heard it before. I wish I could have told my dad in another way that I was expecting a baby. I just don't really like how I broke the news to him, saying that the boy that got me pregnant was the boy that just broke my heart. That is not how I wanted to tell my father that I was pregnant. After me, they ended up driving 2 hours just to come and surprise their daughter, and I really appreciated that because I knew being alone at that moment, having nobody, just being in my room all day was not healthy for myself. And I'm glad that they realized it. To end the story time, 3 weeks had passed. I was 7 weeks pregnant, and I decided for myself that I wanted to go to an ultrasound. My ultrasound took place September 30th, and I didn't know what to expect. September 30th was pretty much the day that changed my life forever. That is when I saw my baby for the first time, and I heard her heartbeat for the first time. I didn't expect myself to be so attached to her like I was. Like, when I was in that room, I was completely amazed and just shocked that it's real. It's not fake. That was a part of me that I was looking at. That was my baby inside of me. And looking at the little heart flicker on the screen, that was real. That's a real person. So when I heard her heartbeat for the first time, I immediately fell in love. Here we are today, at 8 months. I don't know if you guys can see. Something in someone that I am proud to call my own. She's my biggest blessing yet. Well, if you guys like this video, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. I'm happy that you guys are being able to take something from me and being able to apply it to your real life. I'm just happy that I could be here to young girls, young women, and women older than me. Be on the lookout for my next video. Hopefully I'll be coming with videos weekly, especially with me being quarantined and being locked down because of coronavirus. So yes, be on the lookout for my video like I've said, and I will see you guys next time.